Hi there, this is Dutch Grammar, the online video course with all the Dutch grammar you need to know at the beginner's level. Welcome to lesson 27. Today we will discuss the degrees of comparison. In Dutch, de trappen van vergelijking. How do you say in Dutch that something or someone is bigger, smaller or more beautiful? Let's go. Look at the picture. You see 3 children. You can compare them. De jongen is klein, the boy is small. Het meisje is kleiner, the girl is smaller. De baby is het kleinst, the baby is the smallest. You see the ending of the words klein? In sentence 2 there is er, and in sentence 3 there is st. Those endings show the comparative and superlative degrees. What else do you see in the third sentence? Another word appears. Which one? Yes, it's het. If we make a comparison, we usually compare something or someone with something else. To say the girl is smaller than the boy, we say het meisje is kleiner dan de jongen. Here we use the word dan. Most degrees of comparison are regular. We will show you some today. And of course, you have to be aware of the spelling. We will also show you some irregular forms. Let's go. Well, the regular forms are really easy. Have a look at these examples. Het meisje is mooi. The girl is beautiful. Het model is mooier. The model is more beautiful. Miss World is het mooist. Miss World is the most beautiful. Mooi, mooier, mooist. The ending of the comparative, er. The ending of the superlative, st. The superlative we write with het. More beautiful than is mooier dan. Het model is mooier dan het meisje. Next one. De eerste oefening is moeilijk. The first exercise is difficult. De tweede oefening is moeilijker. The second exercise is more difficult. De laatste oefening is het moeilijkst. The last exercise is the most difficult. Moeilijk, moeilijker, moeilijkst. Moeilijker is the comparative. It ends on er. Moeilijkst is the superlative. It ends on st. And we write it with het. If we name both things we compare in one sentence, we use dan. De tweede oefening is moeilijker dan de eerste oefening. The second exercise is more difficult than the first exercise. Please note, the length of the adjective or adverb has no influence on how the word is modified. In Dutch we always use er and st. So that clearly differs from English, where the number of syllables determine whether er is added or a construction with more and most is used. So just add er and st even when it's a long or difficult word. Well, I think you expect some spelling issues already. That's justified. Let's take a look at the map of the Netherlands. Arnhem is groot. Arnhem is big. Utrecht is groter. Utrecht is bigger. Amsterdam is het grootst. Amsterdam is the biggest. Groot, groter, grootst. Well, what happens here with the ending of the comparative in sentence 2 and the superlative in sentence 3? The endings are the same, er and st, but something else changes in the spelling. Have a look at the comparative. It has only one O. And yes, here we go again, the open and closed syllables. Exactly as we discussed in lesson 4 with the verbs, in lesson 10 with the adjectives, and in lesson 12 with the plural. For comparatives, absolutely the same. When we add an extra syllable, and here it is er, then we have to keep in mind that we need to preserve the same sound, the short and long vowels. So groot, groter. Let's have a look at some other adverbs. Remember hoog and laag from lesson 10, meaning high and low. Hoog, comparative hoger, superlative hoogst. Laag, lager, laagst. Hoog and laag have long vowels. We add er in the comparative, the syllable becomes open, hoger, lager, so one O is enough. Remember dik and dun, fat and thin? Those are the ones with short vowels. Dik, dikker, dikst. Dun, dunner, dunst. Here e and are short vowels. We need to keep the same sound when adding an extra syllable. If we add er, we need to close the syllable with an extra consonant. Dikker, dunner. Of course, we do not need to double the consonants in the superlative. We add extra letters but not extra syllables. So the vowels e and are short anyway. What do you think will be the last spelling issue today? It won't be a big surprise because we have done it before. But let's see if you recognize it immediately. Lief means lovely. Liever, liefst. Vies means dirty. Viezer, viest. Well, the endings are the same. What is different? Yes, indeed. The comparative degree is written with a V instead of a F and a Z instead of an S. Exactly the same spelling rule as in the other lessons. Is there another thing you see? Yes, the word vies already ends on an S. In this case, it is enough to add a T, to let it end on st, so no double consonant in this case. Now we will show you some irregular degrees of comparison. Luckily, we do not have many exceptions, but you are going to use these often. Do you know some Dutch football players? Well, here you can see who plays best. Klaas-Jan Huntelaar speelt goed. Klaas-Jan Huntelaar plays well. Wesley Sneijder speelt beter. Wesley Sneijder plays better. Arjen Robben speelt het best. Arjen Robben plays the best. So, goed, beter, best. These degrees of comparison are irregular. You have to learn them by heart. Also, the next ones are irregular. What do you prefer to drink? Ik drink graag thee. Ik drink liever koffie. Ik drink het liefst een biertje. Graag, liever, liefst. Do you have an idea? Graag means gladly. The literal translations would be gladly, rather, and preferably. Probably the best translation of the sentences would be: Ik drink graag thee. I love to drink tea. Ik drink liever koffie. I would rather drink coffee. Ik drink het liefst een biertje. I like to drink beer the most. By the way, did you notice something in these sentences? Have a look at the position. As you can see, degrees of comparison are placed in the sentence like adverbs or adjectives. It's not necessary to put them in the last position. The last ones are opposites. Veel en weinig. Weinig means both little as few. Een kilo suiker is weinig. A kilogram of sugar is little. Een pond, 500 gram, is minder. A pound is even less. Een ons, 100 gram, is het minst. An ounce is the least amount. Weinig, minder, minst. Can mean both little, less, least, as few, fewer, fewest. Jan heeft veel geld. Jan has a lot of money. Koning Willem-Alexander heeft meer geld. King Willem-Alexander has more money. Charlène de Carvalho Heineken heeft het meeste geld. Charlène de Carvalho Heineken has the most money. She is, in reality, the richest person in the Netherlands. And by the name, you can see what made her, or actually her father, rich. Okay, veel, meer, meest. Much or many, more, most. Hey, did you notice the extra e? Yes, that is because meest is here acting like an adjective. Het meeste geld. And so, we can also say de kleinste auto, het grootste huis, de liefste moeder. So, superlatives can be used as adjectives and they act like adjectives. But we can also use a comparative as an adjective. Hij heeft een kleinere auto. He has a smaller car. Hij heeft een groter huis. He has a bigger house. Attention, het huis, so with een, no extra e. Hij heeft een jongere vrouw. He has a younger wife. Now, I'm going to tell you something that you may forget. I will explain it only because you should not panic when you see this. Remember these sentences. Het kleinst, het mooist, het moeilijkst. Now, this specific construction we can also write with an extra e. Het kleinste, het mooiste, het moeilijkste. It is the same. We are almost at the end. Imagine now that you compare two things, but they are equal. Peter is groot. Peter is tall. Maaike is even groot. Maaike is just as tall. We use the word even to express equality. When we want to name both in one sentence, we get the next. Maaike is even groot als Peter. Maaike is as tall as Peter. So we put even before the adverb and als after the adverb. What about the girl next door? Actually, she is as beautiful as Miss World, isn't she? Het meisje is even mooi. Het meisje is even mooi als Miss World. So, we did a lot today. Let's review the rules. The comparative is formed by the ending er. If both elements that we compare are in one sentence, we use dan. The superlative is formed by the ending st and gets het in front of it. Be aware of the spelling rules of closed and open syllables, and of the F changing into a V and the S changing into a Z. There are a few irregular degrees of comparison. Learn them by heart. Comparative and superlative can be used as adjectives. Then they behave like adjectives, so they get an extra a in situations where we add an extra a with adjectives. To express equality, we use even. If both elements that we compare are in one sentence, we use even before the adverb and als after the adverb. Well, now you are ready to do the exercises. Next lesson we are going to talk about modal verbs. For now, good luck, veel succes!